Hello, everyone. Thank you for tuning in today. I believe that God has got something special for us today to learn, to study. And I would like you to please share this video, subscribe to this channel if you have not done so, and like the video. I know that a lot of people out there need to know what's going on This is Maggie. I would like to say thank you for your feedback, for your advice. I've got so many advice from so many people, how to improve, how to keep the program going. And it's been wonderful. And I appreciate each and every one of you. I do not take it for granted because I know without you, there wouldn't be This is Maggie. So let's kick off today. We want to study two women in the Bible, two women that were in their own ways very peculiar, very different, very special, and there are things that we could learn from them. We might not be able to go through everything today for time, but we're going to take as much as we can and complete it in our next program. Hallelujah. Who are these two women that I want to study? And I would want you to think about yourself. Am I like this one or am I like that one? Abigail and Jezibel. Am I like Abigail or am I like Jezebel? These are two women in the Bible who share an interesting parallel in their lives. You know, both women acted on behalf of their husbands, and consequently, both husbands found themselves under the judgment of God. So, these two women, Abigail and Jezebel, just think about them. You can read the accounts of these two women in 1 Kings chapter 21 and 1 Samuel chapter 25. Time wouldn't permit us to read the whole story, but I know that most of us know what happened in those two stories. What kind of a woman are you? What kind of woman am I to my husband in this case? That's what we're talking about. You can hardly imagine these two women, doing the same thing, but in different ways. One did it in order to save her family, and the other caused her family to be destroyed. And at the end, she also died. Abigail was a woman of calm beauty, full of grace. She was modest in her apparel. Her eyes were warm and inviting. She was beautiful according to what we read in the Bible. She loved and she admired people, even her servants. She loved them and she admired them. She advised them. But Jezebel was a stark contrast to Abigail. She was different. On the opposite side, she was cold. She was beauty but cold, a cold kind of beauty. She emphasized so much on things that were not necessary. If we read the account in the Bible, she was manipulative. She was conniving. She was self-centered. She was cruel. Her servants served her with fear and trembling. Not like the case of Abigail, where her servants could trust her in such a way that when they got the bad news that they got from the answer that they got from the master, she didn't know what happened because she wasn't around. They took it to her and told her what was going on. If she didn't have a good relationship with her servants, they wouldn't have relayed that message to her, and destruction would have come upon her and her family. What is your relationship with your servants, with your nannies, with your housemaids, with your drivers, with your housekeepers? As a woman, what is your relationship with them? There are a lot of women these days that they feel their house girls are nothing. They are nobody. They treat them anyhow. They talk to them anyhow. They treat them like a piece of rag. And they do it in the presence of everybody, in the presence of the children. And thereby even the children don't even respect the housemates or the nannies or the housekeepers, as the case may be. But just look at Abigail. Because of her relationship with them, they were able to come to her and tell her what was going on, for her to be able to avert that tragedy that was about to befall her household. Abigail was obviously in a toxic relationship, because from the description of her husband when she was talking to David, you know that she was in a toxic relationship. But that didn't stop her from saving her home. She was in a toxic relationship because she didn't even tell her husband what she was going to do, where she was going. All she did was, when she heard what was going on, she saddled her donkeys, took her servants, and told them to move. She didn't waste any time. There are about 5 things that we could learn from the case of Abigail, in contrast to Jezebel. 5 things. Abigail was obviously in a toxic relationship. If you read that verse 25 of 1 Samuel chapter 25, how did she describe her husband? She said, "Let not my Lord, I pray thee, regard thee this man of Belial." Imagine how she's describing her husband. Even Nabal, for as his name is, so is he. Nabal is his name, and folly is with him. But in thy handmaid saw not the young men of my Lord, whom thou didst send. He was a fool. She had seen him as a fool. So there was no need even telling him, I'm going to do this or I'm going to do that, because he wouldn't have listened to her. But in her wisdom, she went ahead to avert calamity befalling her home. To say she married into a toxic relationship will be likely an understatement if you look at the way she described this man's attitude or this man's character, who was her husband. But in the case of Jezebel, Jezebel was toxic and she rubbed it off on the husband. Taking something that was not theirs, killing the owner, and telling the husband, "You can have it now, it's all yours. Are you not the king? Why can't you get what you want?" Are you that kind of woman? That even when she sees her husband going wrong, don't try to correct him? Or you even encourage him to go ahead doing that which is not supposed to be done as a Christian, as a believer, as a pastor's wife? Look at Abigail. Abigail went ahead to save her family. She wasted no time in doing that. She did not allow fear to hold her back. She moved forward in God's courage and wisdom to save her household from being destroyed. I want to tell you that no matter how hard, or no matter how threatening, no matter how difficult a situation is, God's power within us is greater than we can ever fully understand. He is able to see us through anything, even those who feel insignificant or powerless, for He is a great God. Our God is able to see us through, no matter what we're going through, if only we allow Him to direct us. As a woman, what kind of advice do you give to your children? What kind of advice do you give to your husband? Abigail showed great wisdom in acting quickly, swiftly, and speaking honorably to David. What kind of words come out of your mouth when you're talking to people, when you're addressing people, when you're talking to your husband, when you're talking to your children, when you're talking to your relations, when you're talking to your in-laws? What kind of words come out of your mouth? Abigail was gracious in her words. She took control of the situation, but politely, kindly, because she knew the potential danger that was to befall her house. What kind of relationship do you have with your husband in such a way that you'll be able to stand for him when you see calamity coming? Let's think about it. She was so close, so generous to her servants that she was able to send them forward with the food items, saddle donkeys. Go ahead, I'm coming right behind you. What kind of woman are you? What kind of a mindset do you have towards your household, towards those that serve you? It could be your driver, it could be your housemaid, it could be your nanny, the person you leave the children for. Be humble. Be kind. Seek peace with those around you. What kind of a woman are you to your neighbors? Are you an Abigail or are you a Jezebel? Are you the type that when your neighbors see you coming, everybody is shutting their doors? Are you the type that encourage your husband even to embezzle something that is not his and to do that which is not right in the sight of God? Not minding the consequences that will come out of it. When Abigail saw David, she prostrated before him. She bowed down before him. That means she was humble. She knew she could. She took it upon herself to shoulder the blame for the attitude of her husband. She wasn't there when it happened, but it was relayed to her. Are you like Abigail? Are you humble? Can you stand in the face of trouble to avert calamity falling on your home? Be an Abigail today. Be an Abigail. She sought to make peace and not trouble. I'm sure her neighbors knew her for that. What do your neighbors know you for? Our words and our actions are powerful as women, even towards our husbands. Like somebody always says, our husband is the head of the home, but we are the neck. So who controls the head? The neck, of course. She went ahead and said, oh, please forgive your servant. He did this, he did that. She knows that he's wrong, but please forgive. And even when David was coming with his rage and with anger to come and destroy, but he cooled down because of the attitude. Because of soft words, kind words, polite words. What kind of words come out of your mouth? Think about it. Abigail knew her words and actions were powerful. She understood that she was going to face somebody that she knew that like this he could bring destruction to her and her household. But she took it upon herself to go to him, bow down before him, plead with him. Are you the type that can avert adversity? Are you the type that can avert calamity in your home? Like Abigail? Or are you like Jezibel that brings calamity upon her home? That talks to people anyhow? That insults people anyhow? Despite the fact that you're a Christian. And on Sunday they'll see you carrying your Bible going to church. That's why in your environment, you can't even preach the gospel. You can't even stand and say, I am a Christian, because of your attitude. Because of the way you treat people. Because of the way you treat those that live with you. Because of the way you treat your in-laws. Because of the way you treat your husband. Because of the way you treat your children. Some women, it is only their pastors that they feel should be respected. No, it shouldn't be like that. Your husband is your head. Abigail was a true, loyal, and faithful woman. She knew what God could do using her. She fought to protect her house. She was not thinking only about herself. She was thinking about everyone that she loved around her, including her servants, her husband, and everyone. She was loyal and honored God and her family in all that she did. She chose to show respect towards David, reminding him that God will bring to his life blessings and every good thing he had already promised. David was not king yet, but she reminded him, and that made him cool down. It made him feel good. What are you bringing to your home? Calamity? Hatred? Damnation? Think about it today. Remember, God will fight for you. You are never alone. God fought for Abigail, and I know he will fight for you. So as we sit down and we ponder all these things, don't be a Jezebel. Don't bring calamity upon your home. Be an Abigail. bring blessings upon your home by doing the right thing at the right time, using the right words at the right time. God bless you. I know that as you share this video, someone out there is going to be blessed. I'll see you some other time. God's willing. Enjoy yourself. Bye.